Have you ever taken a personality test? Whether it's the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, the Big 5 Personality Traits Test, or any other, these tests are meant to measure our personality traits and characteristics. But how accurate are they? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the psychological perspective on personality tests. We'll explore the science behind these tests, examining their reliability and validity. You'll learn about the limitations of these tests and why they may not always provide a complete picture of an individual's personality. We'll also discuss how cultural and demographic factors can affect test results. Also today, we're going to uncover the truth behind personality test results and discover what they can and cannot tell us about ourselves. First, let's start with the basics. What are personality tests? Personality tests are standardized measurements of an individual's personality traits and characteristics. They are used to classify people into different categories based on their answers to a series of questions. These tests are often used in various settings such as the workplace, education, and psychology research. Now, the reliability and validity of personality tests are two key factors that determine how accurate these tests are. Reliability refers to the consistency of test results over time and across different test administrators. Validity, on the other hand, refers to whether or not the test measures what it's intended to measure. When it comes to personality tests, some studies have found that they have a high level of reliability and moderate to high level of validity. But, it's also important to note that there are limitations to personality tests. These tests may not accurately capture the complexity and dynamic nature of an individual's personality. In addition, self-reported data used in these tests may not always be reliable. Another key factor to consider is cultural and demographic factors. These can play a role in how people respond to the questions on personality tests and how their results are interpreted. Certain tests may not be suitable for certain groups of people or may not be translated properly and can lead to misinterpretation of test results. So, while personality tests can provide valuable insight into an individual's personality, it's important to interpret the results in the context of other factors and consider the limitations of the test. In the next segments of this video, we'll dive deeper into these topics and explore the psychology behind personality tests in more detail. So, stay tuned and let's uncover the truth behind test results together. One of the most important considerations when evaluating the accuracy of a personality test is its reliability and validity. Reliability is the extent to which a test produces consistent results over time and across different test administrators. A reliable test will give similar results when taken multiple times by the same person or when administered by different people. In the case of personality tests, several studies have found high levels of reliability for tests such as the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator and the Big 5 Personality Traits Test. This means that if you take the test today and then again in a year, you would likely receive similar results. Validity, on the other hand, is the extent to which a test measures what it's intended to measure. In other words, it's a measure of how well a test reflects the construct it's supposed to assess. When it comes to personality tests, several studies have also found moderate to high levels of validity. This means that personality tests like the Myers-Briggs and Big 5 are effective at measuring personality traits and characteristics. However, it's important to note that while these tests may be reliable and valid, they still have limitations. For example, many personality tests are based on self-reported data. This means that the results are based on the individual's perception of themselves, which may not always be accurate. Additionally, some experts argue that these tests don't take into account the dynamic nature of human personality, which can change over time and in different situations. Another limitation is that these tests are mainly based on Western psychological concepts and theories, which may not be suitable or accurately translated for certain groups of people or cultures. This can also affect the reliability and validity of the test as well. In summary, while personality tests like the Myers-Briggs and Big 5 have been found to be reliable and valid, it's important to consider the limitations of the test and not to rely solely on the test results to understand a person's personality, but also consider other factors, such as self-reported data, dynamic nature of human personality and cultural and demographic factors. In the next segment, we'll explore these limitations further and discuss how cultural and demographic factors can affect test results. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the truth behind personality test results. In the previous segment, we discussed how reliability and validity are important factors in determining the accuracy of a personality test. But as we mentioned, even though many personality tests have been found to be reliable and valid, there are still limitations to what these tests can reveal about an individual's personality. One limitation of personality tests is their predictive power. While these tests can provide insight into an individual's personality, they may not be able to predict how that person will behave in specific situations. For example, a person may score high on a test for introversion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they will always behave in an introverted way. Another limitation is the generalizability of test results. While these tests can classify people into different categories based on their answers to a series of questions, it's important to remember that human personality is complex and multifaceted. People's personalities are made up of a combination of traits and characteristics that can change over time and in different situations. This means that a test that classifies someone as an introvert, for example, may not capture the full extent of that person's personality. Additionally, it's important to consider the role of self-reported data in personality tests. These tests rely on individuals' answers to a set of questions, which can be biased by their own perception of themselves, their mood, or other factors at the moment of the test. Even worse, certain groups of people may not be able to answer the questions accurately due to cultural or language barriers. Another limitation of personality tests is that they are mainly based on Western psychological concepts and theories, which may not be suitable or accurately translated for certain groups of people or cultures. This can also affect the reliability and validity of the test. In summary, personality tests can provide valuable insight into an individual's personality, but it's important to remember that these tests have limitations in terms of predictive power, generalizability, and self-reported data. Human personality is a complex and dynamic construct, and a test that classifies someone as an introvert, for example, may not capture the full extent of that person's personality. Additionally, cultural and demographic factors play a role in the results of personality tests and should be considered. In the next segment, we'll delve deeper into how cultural and demographic factors can affect test results. We'll explore how certain tests may not be suitable for certain groups of people and how cultural and demographic factors can contribute to the limitations of personality tests. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the truth behind personality test results. In the previous segments, we discussed how reliability, validity, and limitations of personality tests can affect their accuracy. Another important factor to consider is cultural and demographic factors. These can play a role in how people respond to the questions on personality tests and how their results are interpreted. First, it's important to note that certain tests may not be suitable for certain groups of people. For example, tests that are based on Western psychological concepts and theories may not accurately reflect the experiences and beliefs of people from other cultures. Additionally, tests that are not properly translated can lead to misinterpretation of results. This highlights the importance of considering cultural factors when interpreting test results. Another aspect to consider is demographic factors such as age, gender, and socioeconomic status. These factors can affect how people respond to questions on personality tests and how their results are interpreted. For example, a study found that men and women differ in their responses to certain questions on personality tests, which could affect their overall scores. Additionally, these demographic factors can also highlight the limitations of personality tests, especially tests that are only developed and validated for certain population and may not be generalizable for other groups. It's also important to note that personality tests may have different levels of cultural sensitivity and responsiveness depending on the test and the population being tested. Some tests are better suited for specific cultures and are more culturally responsive than others. In summary, cultural and demographic factors play a role in how people respond to questions on personality tests and how their results are interpreted. Certain tests may not be suitable for certain groups of people, and cultural factors should be considered when interpreting test results. Additionally, demographic factors can also reveal the limitations of some personality tests. It's important to take these factors into account and to be cautious when interpreting test results, especially when generalizing the results to other groups or populations. In conclusion, personality tests can provide valuable insight into an individual's personality, but it's important to remember that these tests have limitations and should be interpreted in the context of other factors such as reliability, validity, and cultural and demographic factors. It's important to understand the limitations of a test and to be mindful of how cultural and demographic factors can affect test results. In this video, we've taken a closer look at the psychological perspective on personality tests. We've explored the science behind these tests, examining their reliability and validity, as well as their limitations. We've also discussed how cultural and demographic factors can affect test results. We've learned that personality tests can provide valuable insight into an individual's personality, but it's important to interpret the results in the context of other factors and consider the limitations of the test. We've seen that reliability and validity are important factors in determining the accuracy of a test, but even tests that are reliable and valid have limitations. We've also seen that self-reported data, the dynamic nature of human personality, and cultural and demographic factors can all affect test results. So, while personality tests can be a useful tool, it's important to remember that they are not the only way to understand someone's personality. It's also important to consider other factors, such as how a person behaves in different situations, what they value, and what's important to them. Thank you for watching. We hope you've learned something new about personality tests and how to evaluate their accuracy. We encourage you to continue learning and thinking critically about personality tests and not to rely solely on test results to understand a person's personality. Be sure to check out our other videos for more information on different topics. Remember that if you have any question or thoughts regarding this topic, please share them in the comments or contact us. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.